May 3rd, just as India's multi-phase general election was hitting its halfway mark, Canadian police revealed that there were 3 Indian nationals arrested in Canada over the assassination of a Sikh leader. Now, the assassination of Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada last year sparked a diplomatic row between India and Canada after Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau revealed that Indian government agents, there was credible evidence of their involvement in the killing. The Indian government denies involvement in this killing in Canada, as well as a failed assassination plot to kill another Sikh separatist leader in the US. Now, meanwhile, a new study has found that 90% of respondents in the US, UK, and France have shown that they've expressed concern over these alleged assassination attempts by the Indian government. The study, the Modi Mirage, was released earlier this week, and I'm pleased to welcome one of the co-authors. Dr. Subir Sinha is the director of the South Asia Institute at London University School of Oriental and Africa Studies. Dr. Sinha, good to have you here. Welcome.
Thanks. Just to clarify, I'm not one of the authors. I'm one of the principal advisors for the review.
Principal advisor, indeed. That's right. Yeah. Well, this study, the Modi Mirage, the subtitle is very intriguing. It says, Illusions and Reality of India's Global Standing and Reputation. So can you tell us, what did the study go out to find, and what were the main findings?
Yes, we've been, in fact, the findings, I have to say, was quite a massive surprise to someone like me, because, for the last 10 years, we've been hearing that India's reputation in the world has been greatly enhanced by the fact that Mr. Narendra Modi has been the Prime Minister. And especially domestically within Indian political debates, this idea that Mr. Modi has immense stature as a person and that he has enhanced the stature of India on a global scale is a central element of the appeal for Mr. Modi within domestic politics. So it is not at all uncommon to hear voters or media people and so forth to actually say quite openly that one reason they support Mr. Modi or they would vote for him is because he's very close friends with Mr. Macron or Mr. Biden or Boris Johnson. And sometimes they even go out to say things like he personally got the Russia-Ukraine war stopped for a number of hours in order to evacuate Indian students from Ukraine. And one of the top candidates, or one of the most prominent candidates, a film star called Kangana Ranaut, she actually has gone ahead and said that if was it not for Mr. Modi, the world would have slipped into World War III. So with that kind of hyperbolic statements coming from the Indian domestic political scene and the amount of effort that has been put in to burnish Mr. Modi's image as a global thought leader, our findings were actually quite surprising to me, I have to say.
And the chief findings were?
And the chief findings were that an overwhelming number of people that we polled, and this includes people of Indian origin, actually do not see Mr. Modi as a very positive person on the world stage. And the reputation of India has taken a massive tumble. For example, in France, almost halved, the positive feelings people had when the word India was mentioned or when they thought of India has actually fallen by about 50% since he took office.
And in elections, one is generally hears that it's all about domestic issues, but you are saying that actually international reputation and foreign policy is important as Modi seeks a third term in office?
Yes, and in fact, the idea of Modi as having kind of broken through some kind of a logjam or a stalemate in India's global rise has been, as I said, a very key element of his appeal. So this comes up in his own electioneering. This comes up in electioneering and speeches by his party ideologues and colleagues. But also Indian media, for example, G20 meetings, as you imagine, these things go by rotation, you would have seen all across India, kind of placards which make this sound as if it was Mr. Modi who brought the G20 meeting to India, and that it was a roaring success. And so these things actually are very much a part and parcel of the carefully curated image of Mr. Modi as a strong leader, and as a leader that has global sort of leaders coming to him for advice. And this is helped along by the exaggerated show of friendship and statements of friendship. For example, Mr. Macron, or Madam Meloni, or Tony Abbott in Australia. They've all, Boris Johnson in the UK, Rishi Sunak in the UK. They've all, Mr. Orban. They've all gone out of their way to have exaggerated statements of praise for Mr. Modi, and a lot of physical contact, which I think appeals quite a lot to a certain sort of core voter of Mr. Modi, because he's seen as someone who's gone beyond the formality of diplomatic meetings between leaders and has struck deep personal friendship with these global leaders. And I think for a certain segment of the Indian voter, that seems to be very appealing.
Okay, very interesting. There's actually a lot in this study, and Alison, the study is available online. It's called the Modi Mirage. Plenty of stuff on how India's image is viewed and the ramifications for countries like France and the US. And you can find this report online. But Dr. Sinha, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.